We're joined by Hall of Famer and World Series champion John Smoltz. He'll be on the call tonight on Fox. So, John, welcome to Speak for Yourself. And let's start with last night's home run derby, where we saw 23-year-old Juan Soto beat 21-year-old Julio Rodriguez to win the derby. Thrilling fashion. How exciting is it to see this youth movement right now in baseball?
Yeah, it's been happening for quite some time, but to make the impact, especially a rookie, come up with hit 63 home runs his first two times, that was impressive. It's not as easy as everybody thinks. You know, it's not normal batting practice, a lot of pressure on these guys. So it was a fun event, and certainly Soto showed the world why he's multi-talented in various ways. He's an old soul, kind of young player, and you don't see very many of those in the way that he approaches the game and how he can hit for power and average.
Now, let me ask you this, because the All-Star game at Dodger Stadium for the first time since 1980, iconic Dodger Stadium. What does it mean for the league to have the game there tonight?
Well, it guarantees you're going to play, right? That's the only thing you worry about. San Diego, L.A., the coast. No, this is a magnificent stadium with so much history, and certainly will showcase the All-Star game in a unique and bright way. I mean, I understand everybody needs and deserves to get an All-Star game at their ballpark, but when you're talking about some of the elite weather conditions, and it's going to be hot, but you know you're not going to get any rain, you're going to get the game in. That's always great for the guys who are competing in the All-Star game.
Now, look, Smoltz, I don't know if I agree, man. You know, me and Sel talk about this all the time. Just play Super Bowls in sunny conditions. Like, we don't need to play Super Bowls in the snow. We don't need to play Super Bowls in the frigid temperatures. You don't need to play everybody doesn't need a fair shot at the All-Star game. Just keep it in L.A.
I hear that.
I agree. I mean, the San Diego, L.A., flip-flop back and forth, I think that would be fine with everybody. But I hear what you're saying, especially when it comes to the World Series. That's always been the one thing that I, as a player, crossed my fingers that we weren't playing in 30 degrees. And I got lucky most of my career because we either in a dome or a warm city.
Yeah, well, current Dodger who plays in the warm conditions, and future Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw is getting the start for the National League tonight. What are your thoughts on him getting a starting nod for the first time in his career?
Yeah, it's actually a great story when you think about being here from the Dodgers and, of course, having the latter part of his career still being effective, totally different pitcher than he was. And he may go down as one of the greatest pitchers of his generation when you think about when it's all said and done, Hall of Fame. But, you know, if he's anything like we were as pitchers, you kind of want to see what it would be like to face the lineup the entire game, even though you know you wouldn't fare well. He's probably going to get 3 to 4 hitters, and he'll want to do his best in front of his home crowd because that lineup is pretty daunting. It's like a football. You know, linebackers, those first 4 hitters certainly have the size of football players, and they can hit it out of the stadium.
You've talked about the first 4 hitters. Let's talk about this game, which is full of all-stars. But which all-star are you most excited to see tonight?
You know, there's all kinds of picks that you could say, but I've always said that, you know, when you got dynamic young players, I mean, Julio Rodriguez, not a lot of people know about him, and they're going to know quickly about him from Seattle. But when you have to handpick or pick a guy, I'm always intrigued with the young player and how they handle themselves, you know, whether it's Soto or Acuna and the stars that are going to be there. But I've always been a huge fan of Aaron Judge. And I think Aaron Judge, at his size, I think there's a lot of people rooting for him to stay healthy. We don't see baseball players that size try to play 162 games. Has been difficult, but you know what he could do if he stays healthy. I mean, 33 home runs. I know it's a little over the halfway break, but I just want to see what he can do in a full year, being out on the field, slashing some DH appearances in there, and see what kind of year he can put together.
Yeah, we mentioned Juan Soto a couple of times, and speaking of stars, he reportedly rejected a 15-year, $440 million offer that would have been the largest contract in baseball history.
Need answers.
Now, there's 2 ways you can take this. Tell me, is this good or bad for the game?
I need answers.
Well, I think the one thing for him, determining, we don't know all the ins and outs. Maybe it was backloaded. Maybe there was things that he was looking for. 15 years is a long time. It's a nice guarantee. I think what Washington did was the best they can do, and now we'll see what they do moving forward, because there's a handful of teams that obviously would love to lock this young kid up if they make a trade. But all those kind of things usually work themselves out. I mean, I'm different mindset, you know. I mean, as a pitcher, no one was going to offer me an 8-year deal, a 10-year deal, but I would have taken it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But these young cats are so good. They're betting on themselves and usually winning. And you just hope that he can stay healthy and play a long career. That's my only selfish desire as now an ex-athlete broadcaster. I want to see these guys play as long as they can. And the injuries are running up so fast in our sport. I hope we find a way to turn them around.
Man, well, speaking of being good, the Yankees and the Dodgers have the best records in the game. But are we on course for a Yankees-Dodgers World Series?
I think the first half certainly shows that way. I mean, baseball in the second half with the moves that are going to be made changes the dynamics of a team. So you wonder who's going to do that to get to that level. Houston's awfully good. I think, you know, with the sport being 2 more playoff teams is going to make it interesting. If you can get the 2 best records, finally, I've been saying this for years, we need to reward the teams that have the best records in baseball because that journey should produce better fruit in the postseason, and we know historically it hasn't. So when we talk about the Dodgers and the Yankees having the best records respectively, yes, that gives them a decided advantage because they have to play a team that plays at least 2 or 3 games. If things were to hold the way they are, then they've got to take on a team that's already used 2 or 3 pitchers. So that's the way it should be. I'm glad they made that change. And it's certainly, if you're the best team in 162, you should have a decided advantage going into the postseason.
All right, Smokes, before we let you go, you know, you started an all-star game once in your Hall of Fame career. So I know you're on the call, but you can't be on the fence with this one. We need you to pick which side would you rather face tonight, American League, National League?
Well, I always want to face the best, and there's a lot of best in these lineups. So as a longtime National League, I'd want to face the American League lineup and see what I can do against them. And look, the National League, they got to get it going. They have not had success. What is the streak that the American League's had and been on has been incredible. So there needs to be a little bit of urgency for the National League to win this game.
All right, John. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, and go get a Dodger dog right now while it's early and the line is short. Enjoy yourself, man.